In 1 Corinthians 7:12 through 16, we read about the spouses who were probably married, both of them being unsaved, but eventually down the line one of them converts, whether it be the wife or the husband. But to the rest I say, not the Lord, that if any brother has a wife who is an unbeliever and she consents to live with him, he must not divorce her. And a woman who has an unbelieving husband and he consents to live with her, she must not send her husband away, for the unbelieving husband is sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified through her believing husband. For otherwise your children are unclean, but now they are holy. Yet if the unbelieving one leaves, let him leave. The brother or the sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you will save your wife? See, obviously back in their day they had issues with that. And obviously the Corinthian church was in a bit of a mess. Sort of a background behind it. I'd say the same thing is going on today. Now, Paul may not have addressed two believers, a husband and a wife getting married, both of them appearing to be saved. But, I'm sure that there may have also been cases back then where one of them said, this gig isn't for me anymore, or I never really was a Christian, whether it would be the husband or the wife. And I'm sure that, when one of them breaks the news, the other one has probably got a flurry of emotions going through, like, what did I do wrong? Or I feel like I've been betrayed, or something like that. And I really don't know. I don't think I've ever encountered that situation. I have my wife and I may have some of our differences, but I don't think she's ever renounced Christ or anything like that. But some things did cross my mind because I was thinking about it. I think that for those of us who are going through that situation, I think the one thing we have to remember is not to be angry with our spouses over it. Yeah, you may feel like you've been misled, and I'm doing what I can to empathize with you on that. But nonetheless, I think if anything, we ought to be praying for our spouses who have basically, they may have claimed to follow Christ at one time, and then they go about saying, I'm not following him anymore, or I never really was a Christian. And those people do need our prayers. The believing spouses need our prayers as well, because there's a lot going on with them. At the same time, though, perhaps it could also be a time where the spouse, the believing spouse, could surrender themselves under the Lord and basically trust Him in all things. I know it's not an easy thing to explain, because I haven't endured that yet. But I think what ultimately comes from all of this is, if I was in that situation, I think, I know it's easier said than done, but I think the one thing I'd probably, be exhorted to do would be to, Lord, this is in your hands. Just let me grow stronger in you. And so I've done what I can to try to use this as a piece of encouragement for you, whoever may be watching. And that perhaps this would be something edifying to the body, because I know that there's been a great falling away. I understand that. Especially with all the false doctrine that's out there, or some people have just grown completely tired of the churches and what's going on. And in closing, I want to leave something I think is a really pivotal exhortation. This is from James 5, verses 19 and 20, the last two verses. My brethren, if any among you strays from the truth and one turns him back, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the error of his way will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. I hope that is a proper application, because I wanted to use this as a piece of encouragement as well. And besides, I'm pretty sure that even as a spouse may have left, I'm also sure that some of those spouses have come back like prodigal sons. I hope and pray that this has been encouraging and edifying to those whom it concerns, and that God may sovereignly and providentially bless you. Thank you for watching.